bringing you news from around the world. This is Primetime News. A very good evening to you. This is Loveworld Primetime News coming to you from our studios right here in Johannesburg. I'm Gyora Matlobo. The world's premier ultra-marathon took place this morning, and it is a down run from Pietermaritzburg to Durban in KwaZulu-Natal province, South Africa. Now, Loveworld News reporter ntlalo was at the starting point of the race in the early hours of the morning and brings you this report.
It's the early hours of the morning here in Pietermaritzburg City Hall, which the Comrades Marathon has just started. The race is approximately 89 kilometers, which will test the endurance and the strength of the runners. $18,000 runners line up in this Superium test. Some people even wore fancy outfits to support their favorite charity, like Save the Rhino. For Loveworld News, I am ntlalo, Pietermaritzburg, KwaZulu-Natal.
We'll bring you more updates from that marathon in subsequent bulletins. Now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today warned the international community not to embrace the Hamas-backed Palestinian Unity government. Netanyahu said Hamas is anti-Israel and will not strengthen peace. It will strengthen terrorism. However, Cabinet Minister Amir Peretz said Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas should be given a chance to work with Hamas. Netanyahu appealed to the responsible officials in the international community not to rush to recognize a Palestinian government that relies on Hamas. Abbas said on Saturday that the formation of a new Palestinian government would be declared on Monday, adding that Israel already warned him it would take punitive steps against the new alliance. Abbas yesterday said that he would respond to any Israeli punitive measures, such as withholding the monthly transfer of some $100 million in taxes and customs that Israel collects on behalf of its Palestinian Authority. The funds are vital to keeping the South-ruled government afloat. Voting is already underway in the Syrian presidential elections, with expatriates going to the polls. Voters in Syria will have to wait until June the 3rd to cast their vote, but the ballot boxes opened on Wednesday for citizens living outside the country. The expatriate voting is taking place in Syrian embassies and consulates abroad, where the staff has not defected to the opposition, including in Jordan and Iran. Many refugees and opposition supporters abroad are expected to boycott the election. The Syrian opposition and its Western allies have denounced the vote as a sham designed to lend Assad a veneer of electoral legitimacy. The government, meanwhile, has touted the vote as the political solution to the conflict. Assad has held power since the year 2000, when he took over after the death of his father, Hafez, who ran the country for 30 years prior to that. Previously, Assad and before him his father were elected in single-candidate referendums in which voters cast a yes or no ballot. Dozens of members of the All India Democratic Women's Association marched through the streets of the Indian capital, demanding immediate arrest of the fugitive suspects and justice for the victims in the gang rape and murder of the two teenage girls in the northern Indian state. The girls, who were cousins, went missing and were later found gang-raped and killed on Wednesday by attackers who then hung their bodies from a mango tree hours after they disappeared from fields near their home in Katra village in Uttar Pradesh. Police yesterday arrested a third suspect and are currently hunting for 2 others in the gang rape. State officials initially appeared caught off guard by the reaction to the attack, and yesterday the state's top official mocked journalists for asking about the incident. The girls, who were aged 14 and 15, were attacked in the tiny village of Katra, about 300 kilometers from the state capital, Lucknow. They disappeared on Tuesday night after going into the fields near their homes to relieve themselves. The father of one of the girls went to the police to report them missing, but he said they refused to help him. Now, that infuriated his neighbors, who, once the bodies were discovered, refused to allow them to be taken down from the tree until the first arrests were made. Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak yesterday said that the disappearance of the Malaysian's airline flight MH370 has been a test for his country's relationship with China, but added that he is grateful for the support the Chinese government has given him. Razak, who was at the end of a 6-day tour to China, was speaking at an event at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two nations. Flight MH370 disappeared en route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing on the 8th of March, with 239 passengers on board, 154 of them Chinese. Not a single piece of the missing Boeing 777 has been found in one of aviation's most baffling mysteries. China's Prime Minister Li Keqiang, during the celebration yesterday, said that China is willing to work together with Malaysia to drive the China-Malaysia relationship into the next 40 years, with maturity and steady mutual benefit and mutual trust, prosperity as well as progress. Beijing has tried to placate Chinese relatives of missing passengers by pressing their case with Malaysia while trying to avoid damage to relations with an important trading partner.
Like all friendships, ours is sometimes tested. Malaysia is deeply saddened by the tragic disappearance of flight MH370, with 50 Malaysian passengers and crew and 154 Chinese passengers on board. Facing a mystery without precedent, we are grateful for the support of the Chinese government, which has spared no expense in the search effort. We will not rest until the plane is found.
United States President Barack Obama yesterday appeared with the parents of Sergeant Bowie Berkhal, who was turned over by the Taliban in exchange for the release of 5 Afghan detainees who were held at the U.S. prison in Guantanamo Bay. Speaking in the Rose Garden of the White House, Obama said that while the soldier was gone, he was never forgotten, adding that the United States of America does not ever leave their men and women in uniform behind. In turn, Berkhal's father thanked all those who took part in his son's recovery, saying it was difficult to put his feelings into words. Bob and Janie Berghal had been in Washington on a previously scheduled visit when they received a call from Obama earlier in the day informing them that their son had been freed.
Good afternoon, everybody. This morning, I called Bob and Janie Bergdahl and told them that after nearly 5 years in captivity, their son Bo is coming home. Sergeant Bergdahl has missed birthdays and holidays and the simple moments with family and friends, which all of us take for granted. But while Bo was gone, he was never forgotten. His parents thought about him and prayed for him every single day, as did his sister Sky, who prayed for his safe return. He wasn't forgotten by his community in Idaho or the military which rallied to support the Bergdahls through thick and thin. And he wasn't forgotten by his country, because the United States of America does not ever leave our men and women in uniform behind. As Commander-in-Chief, I am proud of the service members who recovered Sergeant Bergdahl and brought him safely out of harm's way. As usual, they performed with extraordinary courage and professionalism, and they've made their nation proud. Right now, our top priority is making sure that Bo gets the care and support that he needs and that he can be reunited with his family as soon as possible. I'm also grateful for the tireless work of our diplomats and for the cooperation of the government of Qatar in helping to secure Bo's release. We've worked for several years to achieve this goal, and earlier this week I was able to personally thank the Emir of Qatar for his leadership in helping us get it done. As part of this effort, the United States is transferring 5 detainees from the prison in Guantanamo Bay to Qatar. The Qatari government has given us assurances that it will put in place measures to protect our national security. I also want to express gratitude to the Afghan government, which has always supported our efforts to secure Bo's release. Going forward, the United States will continue to support an Afghan-led process of reconciliation, which could help secure a hard-earned peace within a sovereign and unified Afghanistan. As I said earlier this week, we're committed to winding down the war in Afghanistan, and we are committed to closing Gitmo. But we also made an ironclad commitment to bring our prisoners of war home. That's who we are as Americans. It's a profound obligation within our military, and today, at least in this instance, it's a promise we've been able to keep. I am mindful, though, that there are many troops who remain missing in the past. That's why we're never going to forget. We're never going to give up our search for service members who remain unaccounted for. We also remain deeply committed to securing the release of American citizens who are unjustly detained abroad and deserve to be reunited with their families, just like the Bergdahls soon will be. Bob and Janie, today families across America share in the joy.
Hundreds of people, including dozens of striking teachers, protested in Rio de Janeiro last night against the upcoming Football World Cup. Brazil is hosting the tournament, which kicks off on the 12th of June. Protesters carried anti-World Cup banners and chanted as they marched peacefully towards City Hall. They called for more funding to improve the public services. Brazilian police were out in force in case clashes broke out. One of the protesting teachers, Eduardo Paparagueiro, said Brazilian teachers were living through the worst salary crisis since he started his career decades ago. Also among the crowd were adherents of the Black Bloc anarchist-style protest. Protests across Brazil have lessened in size since last year's anti-government demonstrations that saw 1 million people take to the streets on a single night. However, the country has seen daily protests lately, with anger focused on the billions spent to host the World Cup. The Indonesian Center for Volcanology and Geological Hazard Mitigation has confirmed that a volcano on the Sangiang Api Island in Indonesia erupted on Friday, spreading volcanic ash up to 3 kilometers away. The volcano is known as one of the many active volcanoes in Indonesia. Locals were told not to get close to the volcano until the condition is being declared safe by the PVMBG. The majority of flights in and out of Darwin in Australia were cancelled on Saturday due to the ash coming from the volcanic eruption in Indonesia, according to reports. More stories coming up on Love World News after this short break, so do stay with us.
That time is here again. It's a time of change. A time of glory and power. A time of rejoicing. A time of miracles. It's the Healing School Summer Session with Pastor Chris in Toronto, Canada, to be held in the months of July and August 2014.
When Pastor Chris prayed for me,
He touched me
with both hands.
A surge went through my whole body, from the top of my head down to my feet.
I just went boom, way down.
I just got up and all the pain on my right arm left completely.
I was blind, but now I can see.
I checked my blood situation, completely normal.
I don't use a walking stick anymore now.
I got my life back!
I am free! Free from hospital, free from sickness.
If you need a miracle,
all you need to do is register. No fee, nothing. It's just free. It's a gift.
It's a school for life.
You can't leave here the way you came.
For more information about the Healing School Summer Session, please call any of the numbers now showing on your screen, or log on to www.enterthehealingschool.org. You will find information on registration requirements, hotel and guest houses, as well as information on booking and reservations, transport and car rental services, travel and flight arrangements, visa aid, available translators, Canadian weather, currency rates, and much more. You must be pre-booked as available spaces are limited. The Healing School Summer Session with Pastor Chris in Toronto, Canada. Don't miss it.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. In the city of Buenos Aires, a group of Argentine athletes are using not their eyes but their ears to play tennis. They are members of Argentina Blind Tennis, a platform to help the visually impaired integrate into sport and into society. Started in Japan in the 1980s, Argentina became the first Latin American country to implement the sport in 2011. Blind tennis is played on a badminton-sized court with a lowered net and rope taped down along the perimeters. A braille model of the court helps explain the layout and functions of the game that many of the participants have never seen. Players use junior tennis rackets and a foam ball filled with metal pellets that rattle upon impact. Director and founder of the Argentine program, Ecuador Rafeto, has helped spread the initiative to Mexico and is progressing in Brazil, Ecuador and other provinces of Argentina. Rafeto says that the organization, as it grows, so do the aspirations and achievements of the students who, through the activity, are enriching their lives in new, vibrant ways. Bolivian President Evo Morales has officially inaugurated the world's highest altitude cable car service in La Paz. The cable car system links the city center of the Bolivian capital with the neighboring city of El Alto in 10 minutes. The cabins descend from 4,000 meters at El Alto down to 3,640 meters at La Paz. Morales took a ride in the lead cable car with Bolivian Vice President Alvaro Garcia. The line that opened yesterday was the system's red line, which has 109 cabins that can carry 10 people at a time. The government invested $234 million in the cable car system, which was built by the Australian company Doppelmayr and took 14 months to build. Stay tuned for your finance and business news. Ukraine has said that it has ordered a $786 million payment to Russia in a first step towards paying off its gas debts. Another round of talks aimed at resolving the two countries' dispute over gas prices and preventing a possible supply cut-off has been set for next week Monday. Russia has stepped up pressure on Ukraine over gas lately, calling for Kiev to pay its debts and saying it wants payment upfront for deliveries starting in June. Now, it has threatened to restrict supplies starting on Tuesday if no payment is made. Moscow has put Kiev's gas debts dating back to November at $3.5 billion. Olena Belan, chief economist at Dragon Capital in Kiev, confirmed the bill of $3.5 billion from November to April will not change, but Gazprom may demand the debt is paid off quicker than the Ukrainian government is comfortable with. The CEO of the Russian gas company Gazprom said this week that gas delivered in May could bring them to $5.2 billion. Ukraine, which saw gas price discounts granted by Russia, cancelled following the ousting of pro-Russian President Viktor Yanukovych, who has sought an agreement on prices before paying. That's it from finance and business news, and here are your market indicators. In the world of sports, American Bubba Watson surged to the lead as Englishman Paul Casey plunged 4 strokes behind after the third round of the Memorial Tournament in Dublin, Ohio yesterday. Masters champion Watson used his astonishing power to compile 5 early birdies on his way to a 3-under par 69 and ideal conditions at Murfield Village. He posted a 12-under 204 total, 1 stroke ahead of compatriot Scott Langley with 1 round left. Young Japanese player Hideki Matsuyama was 2 strikes behind, while world number 1 Adam Scott of Australia trailed by 3 despite a bogey at the final hole. Casey, who started the day with a 3-shot lead, had a nightmare round, struggling with almost every facet of his game in a 76.
You know, right now we're hitting the ball just like we want to. We're hitting a couple shots here and there each round, but all in all, putting, ball striking, it's probably the best it's been in a long time, and so looking forward to the challenge tomorrow. You know, who knows? I might shoot in the 80s, I might shoot in 60. So that's the challenge. That's why we play the game of golf, is because every day's different.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm playing with a lot of confidence, but it's funny how quickly it can build, because I went to Crown Plaza having not swung the club very well at the Players, and not 100% sure how I was going to play at Colonial last week, and then it really falls into place on Sunday, and then by Thursday here I'm, you know, thinking I'm never going to miss a shot, and I've played really nice this week. So it can change so quickly, and you've got to take advantage of it when it's there, but I feel good right now.
You know, really happy with the finish, and not quite in the mix or in contention, but I'm pretty close, and you know, another good score tomorrow.
And in the boxing ring, Carl Froch landed the punch of his life to knock out George Groves in London yesterday. The knockout in the 8th round enabled Froch to retain his WBA and IBF super middleweight titles in front of an 80,000 sellout crowd at Wembley Stadium. The grizzled 36-year-old, in his 12th world title fight, landed the right on the jaw of fellow Briton Groves. Froch's 24th victory inside the distance came out of the blue after an often cagey fight that occasionally burst into life.
Fantastic fighters, and I didn't want to go out of my career or finish my career, because my career would have been over. I would have retired if I'd have lost tonight. I didn't want to go out like that and be remembered in the biggest night in history, biggest British fight in history of boxing post-war. I didn't want to be remembered as being the loser. And I take nothing away from George Groves, but you know, I came here tonight to win. And I lived like a monk for 3 months, and I listened to everything Rob McCracken said for 3 months. It's been hard, I put my body through pain, but if you prepare correctly, you get the results, and that's what I did. And I moved to his jingles. It's as simple as that. We've got a great team, and think about it. If that fight there, is all I do now in boxing, I will be a happy man. Now, I'm not saying that's the end for me, but what I'm saying is that, for me, will be hard to top. I don't know what Eddie can produce or offer me now that's going to be anything close.
Well, that's it from sports this evening. In entertainment news, the Bible has proven to be a very good book for actress and co-executive producer Roma Downey. The 2013 miniseries called The Bible, co-executively produced by Downey and her husband Mark Burnett, scored record-breaking ratings around the world. It also earned an Emmy nomination for the on-screen performance by Downey. The 440-minute epic was then edited down and new footage added to create a 2-hour feature called Son of God. Focusing on the story of Jesus Christ, the film was released in cinemas early this year and was a hit, grossing nearly $60 million in North America alone. It's now a digital download and comes to DVD and Blu-ray next month.
The day Rome falls, there will be a shout of freedom such as the world has never heard before. I believe in the past of my people and in their future.
Of course, many people are asking why, when the movie was so successful in 1959, may I repeat, 1959, was a very long time ago. We have teenagers at home. When we solidified the deal that we were going to be involved in producing Ben-Hur, we came home and my teenage daughter said, "Ben who?" I said, my point exactly. There's a whole new generation that's ready to be inspired by this great story.
My son.
Getting in to break their legs and everything else.
AD, which is our new series for NBC, which will take on the Book of Acts, dramatizing it in a very exciting way, presenting these 11 remaining disciples in the dark and danger of the days that ensued after the death of Jesus. How did these 11...
That's our bulletin for this evening. Thank you for joining us. You can send your questions and your comments to feedback@loveworldsat.org. Good evening and God bless you.